Welcome back to From the Shed and welcome back to the channel. This is the final video before our final video goes out for the season, where we preview the game against Nottingham Forest that will be out tomorrow. Don't forget to check that. I did say it was going to be out today, but technical difficulties have proven that we cannot record the podcast today. So I have another video for you guys for today. This is a video around the England international call-ups for Chelsea's players, with Chalobah, Palmer, Madueke, Colwell and Reece James all called up in Thomas Tuchel's upcoming internationals with Andorra and Senegal, and also the latest transfer news on another Brighton player. Looks like we may be signing him in the next couple of weeks to try and get him in before the Club World Cup. But as always, as I always say in these videos, please make sure you subscribe, you like the video, you leave your thoughts as well in the comment section below, and the Linktree link is also in the description, so don't forget to leave your thoughts and subscribe to the channel. Now England are coming up very soon. They have their internationals in the next couple of weeks after the Conference League final, where England will play Andorra in a World Cup qualifier and then play in a friendly against Senegal just before we go to the Club World Cup. Now, as I said, Reece James, Levi Colwell, Cole Palmer, Noni Madueke and Trevoh Chalobah have all been called up to Thomas Tuchel's England setup for the next foreseeable games. Now, big thing for me is the injuries, which was Maresca was asked about. We've managed Reece James's minutes all season. We've allowed Reece James to be a bit part player in some important games this season. We've allowed him to play 70 to 80, sometimes 90 minutes in the game. But Maresca has managed the minutes of Reece James very, very well. Now, my only concern going into these internationals is, can Thomas Tuchel do that? Will Thomas Tuchel rotate his squad? Will we see two different 11s who play against Andorra and Senegal in the next two England fixtures? Reece James has to be ready for that Club World Cup. And part of me understands why he's been picked for England, but we also have to remember he's come back from two massive injuries. He's had surgery in between those injuries as well to try and rectify the issue. And he's done well to keep his minutes down to the bare minimum this season in order to keep himself fit to see out the rest of this season. We can't afford for Reece James to get injured against Andorra or Senegal, or even in a Conference League final, because we will need him to be a pivotal part of the squad, not just for next season, but definitely for the Club World Cup. And the same goes for Cole Palmer, the same for Noni Madueke and Trevoh Chalobah, Levi Colwell. All are just as important. But with Reece James, with the previous injuries that he's come up against in recent times, we need to keep him fit. We need to keep him fit. And I think Thomas Tuchel, understanding how hard it was for him as a Chelsea manager to keep Reece James fit, to keep him in the team, he's going to understand how difficult and how important it is that not just Chelsea, but for Reece James, that he keeps himself fully fit throughout the next couple of months. Now, congratulations has to go out to Trevoh Chalobah, because this is his first England cap, his first England international appearance in a senior squad. I feel like it's well overdue. I feel like it's a well overdue appointment for Trevoh Chalobah to be included into that squad. You know, he's coming up against the likes of Dan Burn for a place in the team. Let me just get the actual teams up actually in terms of defenders. So in defence, we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, Dan Burn, Trevoh Chalobah, Levi Colwell, Reece James, Ezri Konsa, Miles Lewis-Skelly and Carl Walker. So actually, out of those centre-backs, you're looking at Dan Burn, Chalobah and Levi Colwell, Ezri Konsa. So he's amongst good talent, but I do feel Trevoh Chalobah and Thomas Tuchel has come out and said this as well, that Trevoh Chalobah has been one of the best players, not just the best defenders, but one of the best players at Chelsea so far this season since his return from Crystal Palace. And I have to agree with that. I think he's been the one that's been very consistent across the fixtures that we've had, and putting some really good performances, some really good blocks, and he's helped us defensively, especially with the injuries to Fofana, and at times with Zazi going to Villa and Badia Shield being out as well. He's helped us massively in the second half of the season. So this call up for Trevoh Chalobah is well overdue, but truly deserved. And I think he needs to be a regular in the England squad. I think he should be a regular in that England squad. The same for Cole Palmer, who I'm actually shocked is in the England squad. If you think back to the past 8 games, Cole Palmer, 1 goal, I think in those 8 games. It's not the Cole Palmer that was lighting up the Premier League last season. So I'm actually surprised he's in the team. but I'm not against him being in the team, because I think as we go into that Club World Cup, as I said, there is a tiny break, a week window between the internationals and the Club World Cup. I'd rather they play a game, keep themselves fresh. And it's harsh on the players because there's not going to be much of a break in terms of them signing off the season, going into that Conference League final game. Then you've got a couple of days to link up with the England squad. Then you've got the 2 fixtures that I mentioned for England. Then the players will have to regroup up with the Chelsea boys going over to America for the Club World Cup. So there's not actually much time for them to rest, recuperate, recover from the matches. So they have to be managed very well by Thomas Tuchel. And like I said, I expect to see 2 different 11s, the one that plays against Andorra in the qualifying game, and the second one in the friendly, which I believe is at Wembley for Senegal. So Thomas Tuchel, all we can ask is you don't injure the players, you let them get through the game unscathed. And hopefully they all fly on the plane and they all make the plane to America. Now, another bit of news as we wrap up this video has come out that Chelsea are now looking favourites, as it says here on Absolute Chelsea. Chelsea have begun negotiations to sign Brighton's João Pedro. They've signalled an offer of 60 million euros and are trying to speed up negotiations ahead of the Club World Cup. Talks are expected to intensify next week. Now, that has come from quite a reliable source in the Brazilian journalist world. Look, João Pedro, I think he played 16 games, 10 goals this season. He's got history in the Europa League. I think he scored a hat-trick some seasons ago against Sheffield United. He's able to break down, tricky low block defenders and unlock something in that forward role, something that Nicholas Jackson suffered with. I'm going to be honest, of course, we're going back to Brighton again. This is another one that we're pinching something from Brighton. We're using the Brighton model again, or we're looking to try and bring in another Brighton player. But I'm going to be honest, I feel like João Pedro, I don't think we get Victor Gyökeres. I really don't. I think if he goes anywhere, I think it might be Arsenal, or maybe Liverpool. I think Osman's going to be going to the Saudi League. I think Alexander Isak potentially might go to Liverpool if Arsenal get Victor Gyökeres. Liam Delap might end up at Manchester United. So actually, when you think about it, João Pedro, I'm not saying he's going to get us 20 goals a season. I still think we need that. But as I keep saying, I think there has to be someone that comes in that knows where the back of the net is. And I feel João Pedro can do that role. He's very versatile as well. I think he can play off the left side of an attack. So, look, I mean, if he can play that role down the night as the 9, and he can score, and he's playing with, albeit with better wingers. He should be playing with the Cole Palmers, Noni Maduekis, maybe Jadon Sancho as well. I think we may have solved the problem for the interim period of our start of our season. It will cover over a crack for maybe one season, but I still think we need someone who's going to be prolific in front of goal. I don't know if he's going to be the ultimate answer for Chelsea's issues in the striker department. Do I think he's better than Nicholas Jackson? 110%. I mean, that's not really hard, to use Jackson as the benchmark. But I think we need to make sure that if we bring João Pedro in, then we go and get another striker to add to that addition. I think we need 3 competent strikers. I think Mark Gu should go out on loan. I think we should have Nicholas Jackson, João Pedro, and I think we need to go and bring in another striker. I really do. Especially if we get Champions League football as well. That's going to be another big factor. If we get Europa League, if we don't make the Champions League on after Sunday's fixture, this is a competition that João Pedro has played in, and he done very well. I think he was the top goal scorer in Europa League that season when Brighton were in there. So I think it was 6 goals in 6 games. So I think we have to hope that we can get this deal done. I think it's good. I think it's good that we're actively going out and trying to get deals done before the Club World Cup. We're not waiting for the Club World Cup. We're not waiting until after the Club World Cup. We want these players in. We want them in so they can be part of the squad. And João Pedro, for me, very good, trickery player. Obviously Brazilian, so you expect him to come in with the sort of caliber of player that can almost go up another level. I don't think he's at the top of his game at Brighton. I think if he can, and he does come to Chelsea, there is more gears for him to go into. I'm not against his signing at all. And I think for the money as well, you think, obviously, Victor Gyökeres is there. I think his 60 million is release clause. So theoretically, if you're spending 60 million on João Pedro, you could go and get Victor Gyökeres. But I don't think the fee will be the issue for Chelsea. I think it will be one of two things. The assurances that we're going to get Champions League and actually compete in the Champions League, not just enter it, but compete. And I think maybe that's something that's swaying Victor Gyökeres somewhere else. And also the wage structure. You know, we know that, you know, Todd Boehly and co don't want to be spending too much on wages this season or during their period of time of ownership of the football club. So if we can't get someone who wants 200,000, 300,000 a week, 250,000, we're going to lose out on the Osmans and the Victor Gyökeres and all these other players. And we will be looking at Liam Delaps and Pedro Netos, João Pedro's. So I'm not against this signing. It's a practical signing. It does make sense. He has got 10 goals, I think, this season in the Premier League. I think he's got 16 and he's got 16 goal of involvements this season as well. So I do think this is a good addition to the squad. I don't think it solves the ultimate problem for Chelsea if we do sign him. But I want to know what your thoughts are below. I want to know what you think. Do we need to go and get João Pedro from Brighton, or should we be looking further afield and actually going to secure the 20 to 25 goal a season at all costs, whether it doesn't matter whether we paid him £250 a week or £350,000 a week? Should we be going to sign the likes of Victor Gyökeres, or is the fact that João Pedro has got that Premier League experience, that Europa League experience, does that count for something? Is that why Chelsea have gone for him? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will be back tomorrow with the match preview for Forest. Last game of the season, must-win game. Drop your predictions below before we record that, and we'll be back soon.